Sonic 06 is one of the most notoriously bad video games ever made, but sadly, I never actually got a chance to play it myself. Sure, I could pay like $5 to play it in the Xbox Marketplace, but we all know that the only socially acceptable way to play an older game is through a port or a remaster. Problem with that, though, is that I don't think this game's ever gonna see the light of day again, at least not in any official capacity anyway, even if we were to explore every possible alternate universe, and if you give me like however long this video says, I'll explain why. Okay, so I know that most people are wondering why on earth Sega would ever want to even dig Sonic 06 out of the trash to begin with, but to be honest, a big part of me wants them to do something with this game someday. I can't deny that it looks horrible, sure, but I dare say that it could have been good if Sega just put more time into it. Way more time, sure, but like, if Sega's really so ashamed of this game, then why do they keep constantly referencing it all the time? I mean, they had Sonic 06 stages in Sonic Generations, Silver's still acknowledged, and you can even play music from the game in Smash Ultimate, so it's kind of weird that Sega doesn't even want people to play the original game where all this content originated from to begin with, if you ask me. They're basically running ads for a game that they won't even let people play. Well, outside of Xbox Marketplace anyway, but I'm sure they just forgot it was up there, seeing as how Sega's just trying to forget that this game exists in general. Then again, Sega is keeping the game's legacy alive by constantly bringing it up all the time though, so maybe they secretly love it like a jilted lover who always talks about their ex. At any rate though, if Sega's really not trying to hide from the game's history, then I have to ask, why not just port it? And trust me, I'm not saying that I legitimately want a Sonic 06 port anytime in the near future, especially with how many older games that are being re-released every 20 minutes these days. Don't get me wrong, I kinda like having the option to play good old games on modern platforms, but like Sonic 06 is definitely at the bottom of my wish list, never mind the fact that I'd always prioritize newer games being made over older ones anyway. However, even though I don't want a port for Sonic 06 anytime soon though, I just find it hard to believe that Sega's never ever gonna re-release it ever again, even after like 50 years pass. But then again, will Sega really ever have the cojones to ask people to give them money for this ever again? Although, they did scrape the bottom of the barrel for the Sonic Gems collection just to make a few extra bucks off of dumbasses of small peepees like me. What the hell, voiceover me?
So, you know, if they tossed all the other old bad Sonic games into one compilation, then maybe it's possible something like that could happen again with Sonic 06 being tossed in the mix. But if Sega's really gonna re-release this game someday, then maybe they should try to spruce it up a little bit though, you know? Although, to be honest, I don't really know what the best answer is for this. I mean, it's probably not worth all the time and effort fixing bugs from such an old game, especially since it'd take just about as much work to salvage Sonic 06 as it would to just make a brand new game altogether, given how many issues there were. Again, I have never played the game, so maybe it's awesome for all I know, but based on all the lore behind this one, I trust that I'm not out of line in calling this a bad game. I mean, it's not like you could just patch the human love interest out without changing it altogether, so if this game's ever gonna get the spotlight again, everybody's just gonna have to be reminded of that time Sonic committed bestiality. Or I guess it's technically the human character who committed it, which would explain why we never saw her again. Oh well, it's not as bad as Persona 3 Portable letting you date a 10-year-old though, I suppose. On the other hand though, if Sega's really gonna keep the legacy, story, and characters alive though, then I really feel like they need to at least let people play the original game. I mean, I can't imagine there ever being a sequel where the original movie's one you can only buy in a brown paper bag like Sega's doing with this particular title, but the last option Sega could go with would be a full-on remake that I kinda hinted at already, but like, I don't even think a master debater like my neighbor Terry could even convince one single solitary person on this entire planet that that'd be a good idea. I mean, that'd be like trying to remake The Room as a serious movie while still using the same outline as the original story. Like, sure, it might theoretically be possible to make it a passable experience, but like, why not just use a different blueprint to make something new and original, you know?
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
So yeah, if Sonic re-releases Sonic 06 in any way with zero changes, then the game's gonna straight up embarrass everybody involved. If they port the game after patching and fixing it up as much as possible, then it'd still be a really bad game, which would be a complete waste of time, effort, and resources. And then of course there's the most obvious reason why Sonic 06 should stay dead and buried, in that it's just a better idea to make anything else over a complete remake from the ground up, so really, there's just no way anybody wins if this game were to ever get the spotlight again in the next 50 years. As for why Sega keeps paying homage to this game though, I guess it's just gonna have to remain one of life's greatest mysteries next to who duked in the urinal, and also who duked in the bed for that matter, but that's neither here nor there. Maybe Sega's trying to keep the game's memory alive as a way to face their trauma head-on, in the same way morticians have a dark sense of humor to avoid becoming miserable people. Or maybe they're just trying to make people subconsciously be nostalgic towards this game, or at least curious in my case, seeing as how it worked on me, and then re-release it in the future to make a quick buck. Or maybe they're just roasting themselves, kinda like how Nintendo used to remind us that the Virtual Boy existed every now and then. I mean, for whatever it's worth, I was also in Smash Bros. So yeah, I guess we never did get to the bottom of this mystery, but one thing we did learn though is that all of life's greatest mysteries somehow involve Dookie in one way, shape, or form.
Anyway, that's all for today, but if you got a kick out of my incoherent rambling and disturbing imagery though, then you should check out this video I made where I rank every playable Green Hill Zone ever made, but if you'll excuse me though, I gotta go help my neighbor Terry with his debates. Later!